Right. Hey there, folks. Welcome to our GitLab 17.1 release kickoff. I'm Steve Evangelista. I lead our dev and analytics section here at GitLab. I'm excited to host today's session. I'm also joined by an esteemed crew to talk about all the great work we have planned. We're going to have Josh Lambert, Director of Product, talk about all things core platform. Then Taylor McClassen, our GPM, will cover the data science section updates. After that, Jackie Porter, Director of Product, will provide updates on CICD. Follow that up with Melissa Ushakov, GPM, sharing updates for Dev and Analytics. Then finally, Sam White, GPM, will take us through the SEC updates. I'm excited. Obviously, we apply our value of iteration here at GitLab, right? We're focused this fiscal year on 4 product investment themes. Just a reminder, right? A lot of that is enabling AI ML efficiencies across DevSecOps. That includes all the ways we're leveraging generative AI to improve the lives of teams throughout the DevOps lifecycle. Second, driving use case adoption to fully realize the value of the GitLab platform. This means focusing on all the things that make it easier to get started with the core GitLab solutions across our CI/CD and security and compliance portfolio. Differentiating on DevSecOps platforms as well. That encompasses all our ongoing work to make GitLab the best platform for end-to-end DevOps, including continued improvements in SCM, agile planning, and SDLC metrics and insights. And of course, strengthening our SaaS deployments and capabilities. This is investments in the reliability and scalability of our SaaS offerings, as well as maintaining parity across our various deployment patterns, freeing up our users to focus on their SDLC work and strategic initiatives versus operating their DevSecOps platform. Now, before I hand it over to Josh, a quick reminder, of course, of our forward-looking statement disclosure, if you don't mind me reading for a moment. On this live stream, we'll be discussing our roadmap, which includes upcoming features and functionality. It is important to note that the information provided is for informational purposes only. Please do not rely on it for planning or purchasing decisions. We plan very ambitiously here at GitLab, and all the details on this live stream are subject to change. The timing of product features and functionality remain at the sole discretion of GitLab. Okay, with that out of the way, let me pass it over to Josh to kick us off.
Thanks, Steve. So I'll get started with the managed and core platform highlights. One quick note on a change that we've made recently within the what's currently called the managed stage is that we have split the foundations group into 2 groups, now the design system, as well as our personal productivity. So design system, we're responsible for our pajamas design system primarily and driving that forward. And then personal productivity is responsible for things like our navigation and our settings and also notifications as well. So we're very excited about that. And we'll also likely be changing the managed name, by the way, also to Foundations in the very near future. And we'll have more to come there as far as why we're making that change and more broadly communicate it. But let's jump into the features here for 17.1, now that we have sort of a bit of the naming down. And we'll start off with the differentiation on DevSecOps platform. And again, these are the key highlights, not everything that we're doing this release. So please do look at our issues and our videos as well. But we'll kick things off with our personal productivity group and that we are doing more solution validation for our changes to notifications and to-do system. So we've done a lot of research already. We've learned some of the pain points, and now we are working towards actually delivering a solution and validating that to make sure we're on the right track with our users. Moving on to there, we are moving towards actually rolling out the design tokens for our system. Previously, we were working on the process to make sure we had a scalable way of doing this. And now we are well on our way towards actually rolling out our design system. This will allow us to support fully things like various themes like dark mode. That's the first one. But it also will allow for other potential themes like high contrast for users who might find that valuable. Moving over into our import and integrate group, we are driving towards the general availability of our direct transfer. This will allow you to easily move content between different GitLab instances, so self-managed to gitlab.com, between 2 self-managed instances. We're working on 2 main things here. One is to allow it to be canceled easily, and the other one is to make sure that membership inheritance is correctly replicated over and not having people move from inherited memberships over to direct members. So those are the 2 main pieces we're working on to get that to GA, hopefully this milestone. Moving over to our Geo group, we are working towards further rolling out our unified backup, which allows you to have one common backup tool across all deployments and all the data stores. And we have rolled out the MVC already, and now we're moving on towards a beta for the 1K omnibus architecture. And from there, we're also moving on towards the hybrid reference architecture for the 10K size as well as our next step. Really excited for the various improvements this will allow in the future for things like point-in-time restores and incremental backups as well. Moving over towards our global search team, we are working on the first sort of hybrid search within GitLab, and we're going to do this by starting to generate vector embeddings for our issues and epics content, and that way you'll be able to actually do semantic search within the global search and within the command palette of GitLab, allowing you to more easily look for things within the platform without exact keyword matching. So we're very excited about this. And of course, also this will, as part of this, we're building the foundation to more easily generate embeddings across the entirety of all of GitLab's content for use in a variety of our different features. Over towards our attendance scale team, we are working on building out our further organization. This will allow for more isolation for our customers on our SaaS instances like GitLab.com. And so for this, we are working on adding the option to invite users to be admins of the new organization entity above top-level groups. And we're also working to allow for a private setting because in the first iteration of organizations, we are focused on private organizations, and then we'll expand it out to be public later on in the future. Over towards kind of the more of the kind of a SaaS and maintenance aspect of the work that we're doing, we are continuing to drive forward our ref table architecture. We actually had this merged within GitLab to have a much more scalable and performant system for managing refs in Git. And so now we have that landed. We're working on the migration strategy from the old way of managing refs over to the new ref table-based system so we can actually roll this out and see the benefits on GitLab.com as well as all the other instances of GitLab as well. And we're also working towards actually implementing improvements to the Gitly system to better support running on Kubernetes. So pod startup times, making sure we can more responsibly utilize CPUs and things like that are some of the work that we now know we have to go do to get this to work reliably on Kubernetes, which is a frequent ask of customers who want to run GitLab fully cloud native. Over towards our attendance scale team again on more of the kind of under the hood sales project for scaling GitLab.com to a much higher degree. We are working on getting a pass-through routing in front of GitLab.com. This will provide the basis for HTTP routing between different cells. And so excited about getting that rolled out here, hopefully, or working on delivering this. And then we're also working on rolling out one of our key features of the overall sales architecture, which is the initial kind of bootstrapping of our topology service. This will allow the router to know which cell has what content and where a given request should go. Finally, in the Geo team, also related to the sales project, we are working on adapting or really designing a blueprint for how we can move and rebalance folks on different cells to make sure that we can keep them from running too hot, for example, or if we have to do maintenance, we can potentially move people between them as well. Last but not least, certainly here on some of the AI features more directly, we are working in the Cloud Connector group to remove the need to have requests from code suggestions go through the self-managed instance, or in this case, GitLab.com, and they can actually go directly to the AI gateway. This will allow them to skip the monolith and reduce the overall latency. And so you can see here a list of various things that the teams are working on to deliver this overall value decrease in latency. And the last thing we have here for our groups as far as a highlight is that we are working to further improve the upgrade stop and planning process. We know upgrade stops are a pain point for our customers, and we are trying to further reduce them and make sure we can better adhere to upgrade stops in the future as well. So with that, I'll hand it over to Taylor to take us through the data science section of GitLab.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor McCaslin. I'm a group manager for our data science section. In 17.1, we plan on focusing on the theme of enabling AI and ML efficiencies across our DevSecOps platform. Let's start with the AI-powered stage, which helps GitLab build generative AI into GitLab Duo to help customers increase productivity and efficiency. Let me get my little Zoom thing out of the way. There we go. Starting with Duo Chat, we are working to expand the context of Duo Chat and what it's aware of. Currently, Duo Chat is limited to issue and epic data. A lot of customers believe that chat is omnipresent and omniscient about everything in GitLab, and so we're working to improve the context that it has. We're going to expand this to more categories of data like merge requests and other data stores within GitLab. Next, we are working to improve error messages across chat to help better explain when something goes wrong. We're also improving a variety of different bugs that we have found in chat, including things like an issue with streaming content disappearing, fixing issues where when you try to do slash commands without selected code, that not handling the context appropriately. And then an interesting bug where if your chat will sometimes just randomly give you blank answers, like you can see here. So we're going to fix that bug as well. Moving on to framework, we are working to get Duo Enterprise ready. This includes centralizing all of the routing of our AI calls and API calls through the AI gateway. This allows us to have a variety of different controls, including abuse protections, logging, and more. This is key for us to be able to make this a scalable and supportable solution. Next, we're also finishing up our conversion to Claude 3, which are new models from Anthropic. Code Suggestions has already adopted that. We have transitioned some of the chat features, and we're going to finish that up in this release. And then finally, that team is also working on improving our Duo AI governance and access controls. We're going to be bringing a UI, which you see here, to the existing GraphQL settings. So you won't have to go run GraphQL commands anymore. You'll have a UI to do that. And providing this intuitive UI that is conditional. So depending on what you choose here, different options show up, making it easier to understand what's happening when you're banning different AI features at the group and project level. Next, moving to our custom models team. This team is focused on improving the personalization of Duo features, as well as enabling alternative models within Duo. They are working on a NVC for self-hosted models, which is going to focus on code generation using the Mixtral and Mistral model variants, which are open source models, and allowing customers to bring their own hosted versions of those to power Duo. We're also working on a UI so that customers can control how those different models are chosen and which one they want to use for which feature. This will eventually be joined with that previous governance and access controls setting in the future as well. Moving to validation, this is the tooling that we use to validate the AI models and ensure that they are providing high quality responses. We are adding evaluations for our vulnerability explanation and resolution feature so that we can ensure that that is providing highly secure and addresses vulnerabilities correctly. We're working on supporting slash commands with our eval so that we can test the results of slash commands. We're also looking at follow-up questions. So with Duo Chat, you can have multi-turn conversations. You can ask follow-up questions. We're improving our data set to have better evals for follow-ups. We're also working to add support for root cause analysis, which is a popular feature that allows AI to explain what's going wrong with CI jobs. We're adding more evaluations for those. And then we're also improving the way that our prop library works, which we call our central evaluation framework, and making it easier for developers to interact with that. Finally, moving on to the model ops stage. This stage helps customers build AI and ML into their software. Our ML ops team is working to bring our model registry to beta. That is going to focus on bringing the remaining UI components. So right now, all of these things exist as API endpoints that you can use to create, delete models. We're now adding UI so that you can do that within the user interface within GitLab. And then we're also doing readiness preparations for our beta release of the model registry. And that wraps us up. I'll hand it over to Jackie for CICD.
Super. Thank you so much, Taylor. Let me go ahead and share my screen and get started. All right. So first up, we are talking about the CICD sections, which support developers and platform engineers to effectively complete their automation, configuration, and operation tasks with GitLab after submitting code. The 3 stages in this section are verify, package, and deploy. And we have some great work coming out of 17.0 and GitLab, 17.1, to make your lives easier in GitLab. So the first theme that we're going to be talking about is driving use case adoption to fully realize the value, where we have several teams making some great contributions. First up, we're going to be focusing on a merge train visualization, which is our pipeline execution group, focusing on helping you see what is an active merge request on a merge train and whether or not a merge train has been merged. So now you don't have to guess whether or not your train has left the station. Next up, the deploy group has heard multiple times that customers have loved the approval workflows, but they need some support for several enhanced use cases. So first up, they would like to see multiple approvals for the same user. And they also want to have better connections to an approval and whenever a job is waiting for approvals, which is not the case today. Today, when a job waits for an approval, it links into the deployment list instead of the approvals page. So we're really looking forward to that better connection to the approvals in the job view. The package group is also continuing to improve the usability and user experience for the container registry UI in this release. They have some great enhancements for the sorting and filtering and capabilities for the container registry UI. So this means that developers and platform engineers can find the relevant images faster. We're really excited to make that a more usable and lovable experience. Our second theme in this release is to enable AI and ML efficiencies across the DevSecOps platform. And in this release particularly, we're going to be updating the user experience for our very loved AI feature, root cause analysis. Particularly, we're going to work on integrating the feature backend with Duo Chat so the response can be rendered in a consistent way, which will help you get your pipeline back to green faster. The third theme of differentiate on DevSecOps platform has some key quality of life improvements as well. Have you ever had to troubleshoot issues after deployment? Well, as a release manager in my past life, I definitely have. And typically it looks like someone having to open up a specific dashboard or view in a cloud provider or a third-party tool, including a Kubernetes dashboard. And you have to scroll through log tails or logs to determine where that error occurred. And that can be a very onerous task. In this release, the deploy group aims to solve this context switch pain by adding log streaming to GitLab so developers can get to log tails and mere clicks post-deployment right from the GitLab UI. Very neat improvement here. Another one coming from the runner fleet deployment space is adding a dashboard to help you get to an at-a-glance view for your group runners, including status metrics, performance metrics, and much more. So you can view failures of active build agents and statistics right from the top level group without having to export data to another metrics provider or other cloud provider tool. This is going to be a very loved feature set for people who are looking just to dive into their runner fleet metrics. Finally, for our last theme, strengthen our SaaS deployments capabilities. This quarter, our hosted runner group is wanting to make it easier than ever for you to work on macOS applications. So to do this, we want to deliver some major improvements this release, including improvements to macOS runner images so that you are developing with the latest changes from Xcode and 14.4. as well as making improvements to the macOS infrastructure management processes. What this will do is that it'll help you get these changes from macOS runner images faster and on time. These improvements will mean GitLab is automating these changes and making it more seamless and continuously, so you're getting those changes faster. This is not a comprehensive list of everything we're doing in 17.1 across CICD. So please take a moment to review our kickoff videos, or direction pages if you're interested in learning more. That wraps it up for CICD. I'll pass it over to Melissa to present all the goodness for dev and analytics sections.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Jackie. Let me share my screen. And by the way, I love that a lot of the changes are focused on efficiency and productivity. Love to see it. Hi, everyone. I'm covering the dev section and analytics, and I'm going to start with the theme of enabling AI ML efficiency across DevOps. So we all love AI, and we want to now see the effect that it's taking on your engineering team and how it's helping drive efficiency. Last milestone, we delivered the AI Impact Analytics dashboard, which shows metrics that help you see that and understand how your team's adopting AI. And in this milestone, we're going to be making some improvements by showing the items that you see here. So this is focused around adoption of AI. Essentially, are your users using code suggestions now that you've purchased that capability from GitLab? And expect to see more and more iterations as we go. Sticking with the theme of AI, we're bringing Duo Chat to Visual Studio. This is very exciting. Your engineers can now take advantage of our AI chat capabilities without needing to leave their IDE. Also on the VS Code front, we're making more languages available for code suggestions. This will be an ongoing effort. You can see the list of the ones that we're targeting this iteration, and this will open up even more use cases for code suggestions. On the usability front, we're also taking a look at what we built so far and improving the experience. So one thing that we're doing is taking care of our admins and making sure they have a good setup experience by allowing them to test code suggestion setup and also giving them better error messages when they encounter issues. And this is just to make sure, they're successful in enabling these features. Another thing that we've heard is users want the ability to cycle through suggestions. So if there's multiple ones that are provided, being able to look through them and pick the one that best matches their intent. So in VS Code, they'll be able to do this now. Very exciting usability improvement. Now moving on to our theme of differentiate on DevSecOps platform. You've seen some improvements coming to Wiki, and they're coming again in 17.1. And this time we're partnering with our Papercuts team to make some usability and workflow improvements to Wiki. One thing that we're changing is the delete experience. So today you have to click in to edit the wiki and then delete, which is not ideal. So we're moving it to here and we're using some of the standard patterns that are throughout GitLab. The other change that we're making is just around the experience of a homepage when you don't have any wiki pages. Right now it looks like this. There's a lot of wasted space. So we're just cleaning it up and making it a little modal and still showing you information about your repo. Staying on the content editing front, we're going to make media draggable in the rich text editor. So if you have an image in our weave with all text, you'll now be able to drag it to the top like you can in other editors. Today, you have to remove it and put it back. So that'll be a really great efficiency gain for users. Performance is something that's always top of mind for us. This milestone, the team will start working on what we're calling rapid diffs MVC, which is there's different ways in GitLab in which you can visualize diffs. And there's slight differences in implementation and also varying performance. So the team's working on a unified implementation of this, keeping performance in mind as they're working through this. This will be an effort that will take several milestones, but it's starting this one. Another piece of functionality that you've been hearing about is the ability to merge MRs when merge checks pass. So there's different checks depending on your organization that you can enable for merge requests. And some of them are not automated. So an engineer would basically need to come back to check on the checks after they're done and then merge. So GitLab will allow that to automatically happen and just streamline people's workflows. Moving on to the observability front, this is a great and exciting enhancement for self-managed customers to make observability features available to them without as much administrative overhead. So what this feature will give us is the ability to have the cloud connector, which will have self-managed customers basically use a ClickHouse cluster in our SaaS. So basically, they don't have to manage this additional thing in their deployment, and they can still use our very neat observability features of logs, tracing, and metrics. An improvement that's coming to our capabilities on the observability front is the ability to do a funnel analysis. So this is a very common way for people to look at a user journey and see where people are falling off, right? In this case, you can see 34% is not very good from item added to cart to credit card entered. So that's where the team would look at, how can they improve that? So very excited to put this in our customers' hands to allow them to build better products. On the value stream dashboard front, again, very exciting update. This functionality, if you haven't taken a look, allows you to see metrics across your DevSecOps flow and allows you to get a sense of a 360 view of how your team's doing. This feature is available at the group level today, but in this upcoming milestone, it will be moving to the project level and enabling even more use cases. Sometimes for organization and leader, the group level is appropriate, but if you're a team lead, the project level is likely where you would want to look and focus in on. So that's it for the items. Of course, there's a lot more that the team's working on. I encourage you to look at the planning issues for each group if you're interested, and I'll pass it on to Sam to cover the SEC section.
All right, thanks, Melissa. In SEC, we're focused on the security and compliance use cases, specifically driving use case adoption within those. To get started with our authorization team, I'm really excited about the improvements they've made here to custom roles over the last little while. They're planning to continue working in here by adding several new custom permissions and also by adding support for LDAP group sync. Additionally, they're working to add the ability for non-admin users to be able to view what permissions are included in their custom role so that they know what they're allowed to do and what they cannot do. On the authentication side, we're working on our GCP integration June release. This is going to significantly reduce the number of setup steps to integrate GitLab with these GCP apps by around 50%. Additionally, we are working to add a verify group link configuration so that as users are setting up their SAML group sync, they can test that configuration before taking it live. On the compliance side, we're working to release a Snowflake Marketplace connector app, which will allow GitLab audit events to be fed into Snowflake. Additionally, we're working on taking this compliance center in GitLab, which is currently available at the top level group, and making that available at the subgroup and project levels as well. Within our policies team, we are introducing a new type of policy. This is something that we've had in the works for a while. It's been an experiment for a number of milestones now, and we're finally getting ready to GA release it as a new pipeline execution policy. This is going to allow users to enforce custom CI jobs in a way that does not interfere or override the developer's pipeline. We're working on numerous improvements to performance on both our vulnerability report and our dependency list. Additionally, we're adding in some new filters, including the ability to filter by identifier on the vulnerability report and the ability to filter by both component and starting work on filtering by packager on the dependency list also in 17.1. On the secret detection side, we had an early experimental release of our push checks to prevent secrets from being pushed into GitLab initially. Initially, that was available in a very limited fashion. We're working to roll this out as an open beta for all of our GitLab.com users. It'll be an opt-in open beta for those who are interested is the plan. We're trying to get this in by the end of 17.1. And a couple other things that I don't have screenshots for, but we are working to add dependency scanning support for Swift. And also on the continuous vulnerability side, for continuous vulnerability scanning, we're planning to do some improvements here to make it easier for users to rescan whenever the SBOM changes automatically without having to do anything different on their end. For DAST, we're adding 3 new active checks to our proprietary DAST analyzer. We are also migrating our API security testing checks to be stored in YAML to make it easier for contributions into that rule set. And Lastly, with our recent acquisition of Oxeye, we're working to integrate that into GitLab, starting with Python first to allow for better cross-file and cross-functional scanning. This is planned to be released as an experiment initially and then matured from there on. And lastly, so much to sum up here, but lastly, we're working towards real-time IDE-based SAST scanning. And with that, I will hand it back over to Steve.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. All of our presenters, thank you. Clearly no shortage of exciting new features, updates to look forward to. A few in particular that jumped out at me, certainly in the core platform space. Hearing the research is going into revamping the notification to-do system is fantastic. I know I personally will benefit from that. Improving Gitly support on Kubernetes are surely going to help for those customers, as well as seeing us reach GA with the direct transfer. And of course, who doesn't love an option for a dark mode UI? In data science, it's great to hear we're getting to beta for our model registry. I know that's a culmination of a lot of work and research. Expanding our regional footprint for the AI gateways is going to continue to help with Duo performance for customers across the globe. And then all things on the journey to make Duo smarter, though maybe not completely omniscient, is great to see. For CICD, I know I can't wait to see the first iteration of the merge train visualization, also a pain I've dealt with in a previous life. The runner fleet dashboard I know is going to provide a great kind of useful at-a-glance view. And seeing those hosted runner improvements for developing macOS applications is definitely going to help our customers in that world. On the dev and analytics side, big place in my heart for the improved AI impact MVC dashboard, helping organizations understand the benefits they're achieving by adopting Duo. Expanding language support and Duo code suggestions is going to uplift team efficiency. Auto merging when all the checks are passed is definitely going to accelerate teams' ability to confidently ship faster. And then as a data geek, I'm stoked to see the first iteration of enabling funnel analysis within GitLab product analytics. And then, of course, as Sam talked about, some of the highlights in SEC, supporting custom roles with LDAP group sync and those granular permissions is a great addition. Definitely excited to see our Snowflake Marketplace connector app launch. Being able to feed those GitLab audit events into Snowflake for customers that are leveraging it is going to empower a lot of additional capabilities for them. And I know there's going to be ample interest in opening up the beta for our native secret push protection. Again, this is only a tiny portion of everything we're working on. So please don't forget to visit the release kickoff page to get the full rundown. As always, we welcome comments on our issues, engagement with our teams. We strongly value that interaction from our customers and folks across the GitLab community. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for watching the 17.1 release kickoff. Hope you have an amazing rest of the day.